Hello. In this video, we're going to look at question 4C for exam 3 review. So for 4C here, we're going to go ahead and find the relative maximum or minimum of f of x equals 3x plus 6x to the 2/3 power. To do this, we first need to look for the domain. The domain for 3x is all real numbers, and for x to the 2/3 is also all real numbers because the denominator in the exponent is odd. So there is no limit on the domain here. That means we need to go ahead and find the derivative. Now to find the derivative of 3x is 3, and the derivative of 6x to the 2/3 power using the power rule, 6 times 2/3 is 4, but plus 4, and then x to the, 2/3 minus 1 is negative 1/3. Now, because I have a negative exponent, I'm going to factor out that from both of those terms. So I'm going to factor out the x to the negative 1/3 power. And what's left over is 3x to the 1/3 power plus 4. And then the x to the negative 1/3 will go to the denominator. So it's going to give me 3x to the 1/3 plus 4. And then all over x to the 1/3 power. Good. Now, the reason that we have an x to the 1/3 here, this is just a 3. So 3 divided by x to the negative 1/3 power. Think of that as going to the numerator as 3x to the positive 1/3 power. Because remember, when you factor something out, you divide both of those terms by that common factor. Fantastic. So that is the derivative. Now we need to find any critical numbers that may exist. So the critical numbers come from setting both the numerator and denominator separately equal to 0. So it's going to be 3x to the 1/3 plus 4 equals 0. So subtract 4, divide by 3, it gives me x to the 1/3 equals negative 4 over 3. Now I need to go ahead and cube both sides here. So it means that x is equal to negative 4 cubed is negative 64. 3 cubed is 27. So negative 64 over 27 is a critical number. Also, set the denominator, x to the 1/3 equals 0. Cube both sides means x equals 0. So that's also a critical number. So we have critical numbers here at negative 64 over 27 and 0. So on the number line, we have the negative 64 over 27, and we have 0. And we need test points. Now, negative 64 over 27, it's less than negative 3. So let's just say negative 5 is my test point there. Between these two, let's just say negative 1. And to the right of 0, let's say 1. And again, we're plugging these into the derivative. So let's go to the calculator. On the calculator here, on y1, I'm going to type in the original function, 3x plus 6x to the 2/3 power. In y2, we're going to type in, actually, I'm just typing the original thing we found, which was 3 plus 4x to the negative 1/3 power. No reason to not use this one. Good. Then if I go to the table, I'm typing in negative 5, 0, sorry, negative 1, not 0, and 1. There we go. So notice that negative 5 is positive, negative 1 is negative, and 1 is positive for the derivative, I should say. So positive, negative, positive. So it's going up then down, which means negative 64 over 27 is a relative maximum. Down then up, which means 0 is a relative minimum. Whoa, where was I? Come on now. There we go. Now, as a result, we need to go ahead and find those function values. So I need to find the function value at negative 64 over 27 and the function value at 0. So if we go to the calculator, and then I'd do negative 64 over 27 and 0. There we go. By the way, negative 64 over 27 was negative 2.37 approximately. And notice, though, that negative 2.37, or whatever that value was, is 3.5 repeating, basically. Now, I really don't mind. I really don't care if you round this. So I'll just say maybe 3.6. And at 0, it gives us 0. Good. And again, these are the function values, which is why I'm looking at y1 there for those. Good. So again, because negative 64 over 27, it was up then down. This is a relative maximum, then down then up, which means 0 is a relative minimum. So there is a relative maximum of about 3.6 at x equals negative 64 over 27. And there is a relative minimum of 0 at x equals 0. And again, if you want to use the coordinates, that's fine. So that, just say there's a relative maximum of, or at negative 64 over 27, comma 3.6. And then there's a relative minimum at 0, comma 0. And there you go. That is 4C. Have fun.